Okay, good morning. Here is your lesson on soldering your glass pieces together so they actually come together and make your little design. So I got my feather going on, I have all my pieces cut, grinded, and copper foiled, and I've pieced them all back together as best as I could. Remember, this is like a puzzle. And I'm ready to solder these guys together. So hopefully you've already seen my picture of the soldering station. We've got our ceramic shelf here. We've got our soldering iron. It gets really hot, so don't touch it. It gets up to 800 degrees. I have a little stand right here for me to rest it on. Make sure the soldering iron stays on the stand or the shelf here. Okay, I have cardboard. You can't see it in the video, but I have cardboard surrounding the area, and make sure you don't leave the soldering iron on the cardboard because it will quickly burn through it, just like that. Okay, another thing to remember is to not cross my wire with my soldering iron, and to never to always handle the soldering iron here. I've seen too many kids grab it on here on accident when they weren't looking. They just kind of like blindly started reaching for it and burned their hands. Okay, some other things I have are my flux. Okay, this is just an acid. I'll talk to you about that in just a second. I have this little ceramic pot with some wet sponges in here to clean off my soldering iron as I go. And then I actually have my solder, which I will melt soon enough for you so you can see how to do this. Now, before I can start soldering anything together on here, I need to apply flux. Now, flux is an acid that's going to help the solder stick to the copper foil. Without the flux, the solder just doesn't stick to the copper foil, and then you're just wasting your time. I had a student last year with a beautiful design, standing here soldering her stuff together, called me over, said, "Miss Borges, what's going on with the solder? It's not sticking, it's being weird." And I said, "Did you remember to flux?" And she goes, "Oh no." And then so we had a really hard time trying to get everything together. So always remember to flux. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I'm just going to take this little brush and kind of like dab little pieces together. Okay. You can kind of flux stuff as you go along. Okay. And now that I have some flux applied, I'm going to use my soldering iron to drop a bead, and I'm going to start tacking the pieces together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the solder very gently against the soldering iron, and it immediately, there we go, and I've dropped a bead. Wonderful. Now those two pieces are stuck together. I can kind of drop another bead. There you go. Okay, good. So now those pieces are tacked together, and that's really, really good. I can tack even one more together. I already fluxed that area right there. Okay, that sizzle, don't be afraid of it. Okay, and then I can kind of show you how to like run beads. So I've fluxed this whole area, and now I want the solder to close up these seams so that this puzzle stays together really, really well and doesn't fall apart. So I'm going to hold my soldering iron and my solder and start to just move the soldering iron along where I want the solder to go. So I wanted to cover that whole seam, so I just moved it along there. And what's cool is you don't really need to touch this part a lot. The flux will kind of pull the solder off of the iron for you